DPW. What can DPW do for parks? We don't understand that. Well, during the springtime, how many of you cut your own lawns out there? I would imagine quite a bit of us do that. Well, DPW can lend a hand during what time? That April-May surge period, when the grass seems to grow a foot every other day. So there's an opportunity for us. Can we pursue an innovative, out-of-the-box idea? Can we pursue the exploratory to use prime time and part-time employees? What do you mean by that? Well, we got an opportunity to support surge periods by bringing on part-timers. And we got an opportunity, maybe we can use some of our prime-time workers, those workers who have worked in DPW, who have worked in parks, in rec, that have retired, that potentially can serve in positions at the recycle center. Overall, the trend is to merge parks with DPW in most towns. That commentary supports earlier study findings that was done in 2009. Recreational services and programs. These are different types of skills from traditional labor activities. You need to appreciate that. Just amalgamating recreational services and programs with DPW might not work because it's a different skill set. How about when we purchase recreational and playground equipment? It requires significant knowledge and specific knowledge in regards to the types of equipment and the safety of the equipment, the durability of that equipment. It's different than the acquisition of buying a tractor or buying a truck. Machinery-based equipment decisions are different than playground-based decisions. We also learned about scope. We also learned about responsibilities of the recreational services and the programs. We were pleased to learn that these programs have grown significantly in regard to the number of events that are being provided to the township over the past 10 years. This is a good thing. This is something which is healthy. It's innovative. We also learn in terms of qualifications that the person who has the responsibility for being the recreation head needs to be a certified individual. This is written within the job description. In addition, concern was expressed that the creation of a mega department may be dysfunctional. Again, coming back from another individual, because the skill sets are varied and the responsibilities are varied. There needs to be a high degree of coordination between planning and the implementation of recreation events. Two skills, but you need to work hand in glove. Commentary is also, in terms of, a constructive thought, was how about evaluating moving parks, that component of recreation, over to the labor services group, and leaving recreation department separate. Explore the relationship between the Board of Ed and park fields management requirements, because this is a service that we're providing and receiving no fee from the Board of Ed. Another out-of-the-box idea was, hey, why not schedule a summit of all the department heads, regardless of function, in this township, and let them brainstorm and come up with ways how to save the taxpayer money without degradation of services. So we would really like to thank Ken and myself, and on behalf of the entire Township Committee, to all the participants for their contributions and their thoughts. They worked at this. They raised good issues. The net, where are we as a result of this? Given the learning from these discussions with what I'll call key constituencies in our town, from league boards, from seniors club, from DPW to parks, recreation staff, and management. And whereas our interest remains twofold. Number one, save the taxpayers money. Number two, continue to provide quality DPW, parks, and recreational services and programs. Based upon that, we have an expanded perspective, a strategic perspective, taking into account the greater good of Hanover Township, on revising the initial draft ordinance that Mr. Schleifer and I began to work on in concept form that was released to news media, and we are now recommending, preparing to bring to the Township Committee that we modify the draft ordinance as follows. Number one, we believe in the concept of bringing together the merging of complementary labor components, unifying DPW labor and parks maintenance to achieve opportunities and synergies through economies of scale. Number two, we believe in preserving as a separate entity the department known today as Parks and Recreation to support continued focus and deliver quality services and programs and management of those services. We believe that this now more enlightened position will deliver a true win-win situation. The win-win being savings for our taxpayers from better use of our valuable skilled labor force. Number two, providing opportunities for enhanced skilled labor utilization of key DPW and park services, and maintaining the recreational programs enjoyed by our residents, ranging from sports leagues, senior clubs, activity groups, specialized clubs, and community events, just to name a few. At this time, I'd like to turn the meeting back to Mayor Sheridan.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ms. Irati. Please. It is your turn now, Ms. Irati, to present your side.
I just had one question. I was wondering if Mr. Faramasca could tell us in plain English what the last objectives were, what they've decided to revise the ordinance to be.
The objectives are, number one, to achieve economic efficiencies by merging complementary labor components,
What does that mean?
unifying DPW labor and parks maintenance people to achieve synergies and economies of scale.
Well, could you explain what that means? I mean, I was not involved in this ordinance, so I don't know what went on behind the scenes. So if you could explain to me, because I don't understand what that means. It's a very broad thing, very subjective. A lot of rhetoric. I want the facts. I want the facts. What are we going to save? I don't want to, well, we could have, well, we should have, well, we're going to.
Ms. Irati, I believe you made your point. Your question is clear.
Okay.
And I think, to be fair, give Mr. Faramasca an opportunity to address it.
Number one, the plan is to merge the complementary labor components. The labor components being defined as DPW, which is a labor component, and parks maintenance, which is a labor component. To bring those two together within one unified structure to deliver against the synergies and economies of scale that will save us significant dollars.
What happened to buildings and grounds?
Within DPW, I will go back. We're going to bring together, from a labor standpoint, buildings and grounds, roads, sanitation, and parks.
And you had a question on the second issue, I believe.
The second issue is to preserve as a separate entity the department known as today Parks and Recreation to support continued focus on services and programs management. The department, the management, the very structure of the department would remain the same. The staffing would remain the same. The only difference Parks and Recreation will experience is that those individuals who are doing buildings and grounds and parks, it will be an indirect management concept where they will work coordinating with the additional DPW labor and parks maintenance group to achieve the services in terms of implementation.